Hello, everyone. Welcome to the special edition. Welcome to the special edition of Mind Debates. And we've been wanting to do this one for a long time. This is our one-year special Mind Debates, if I may say. This one. It's not just going to be me, Sunanda, Pramod, and a guest. It's going to be many guests, all of whom are regular contributors for Mind Makers, good friends, and offer amazing insights into policy, politics, and different issues. So we wanted to have a open debate with all these guests from all across the world, may I add, and truly honored to have all of you guys here. Once again, this is Aadit Kapadia, and together with me are my co-hosts for Mind Makers, Pramod Kumar Buravalli and Sunanda Vashisht. Notice I said co-hosts today, not co-founders. So, yes.
You're putting us in a spot. You're making us work harder.
Exactly. So I hope you guys are doing fine and you guys are ready to have a great debate.
Yes, today. I am. I am absolutely ready to have a great debate. Welcome, everyone. And it's fabulous to have rock stars of Mind Makers here at this moment.
So first of all, I'm just going to introduce everyone, and then I'm going to tell everyone to give a brief 10-second introduction of themselves, and then I'll open up the debate. The debate is set into 3 different formats, and I'll explain that later. So today we have with us S. Sudhir Kumar, who's written on various issues on Mind Makers, from media to national security. Malini Parthasarthi particularly is fond of him for all the exposes he's done. Actually, my joke was I was going to call it the Sudhir Kumar impact, the events that have transpired at the Hindu lately. We also have with us, Sudhir is joining us from Hyderabad. We have Somanjana Chatterjee joining us from California. Hey Somanjana, great to have you here. We also have Sagar Kinhekar, who's joining us from Bombay or Mumbai, and whose latest rebuttal to Audrey Trushki's piece has been gathering a lot of traction on Mind Makers. We also have Ramana Muppalla joining us from DC, the other capital, and he'll be the one to tell us if Donald Trump is going to be the president or not. So, and we also have Haritha. She's joining us from the capital, Delhi. So we have everyone from all around the world, as I said. Just to give you guys a brief introduction, Sudhir, if you could just give a brief intro about yourself, 10 seconds.
Right, I'm an obsessive reader, compulsive sleeper, and a very repulsive writer. That's pretty much my bio.
Short and sweet.
Forward to debate.
Yes. Haritha, if you could just give a brief bio about yourself.
Hi, I'm Haritha. I'm a molecular biologist by profession and has turned into a freelance writer of late.
Absolutely, and we're glad for that, Haritha. So, Ramana, brief bio of you, please.
Yeah, I'm information technology for a long time, about 20 years, living in DC for more than 15 years, Washington, DC, and a lazy writer. So I started contributing when Pramod ji has started forcing me to write something.
We're going to tell him to push you more, though.
Yeah, so, but I read a lot. I read the foreign policy, I read the strategic affairs more than anything else. My reading link is about history and strategic affairs, with the current affairs.
And trust me, we're going to be talking a lot about those today. So, Somanjana, Somanjana, a brief bio about you. You're still on, yeah.
I think she's on mute.
Yeah, I think Somanjana, you're on mute. You might have to unmute yourself. Yeah,
no.
So go ahead, Somanjana.
Yeah.
Hi everyone, this is Somanjana. I'm a journalist and social activist based out of San Francisco Bay Area, and I'm a big fan of Mind Makers. I've known you folks for a while now, and it's really exciting to be part of the great debate.
The pleasure is ours. Sagar.
Rare combination, should I say?
Sagar, yeah, if you could just repeat yourself. Yes, you were on mute.
Oh, sorry. I'm management consultant and a Sangh Swayamsevak. Rare combination, should I say? And don't get me wrong, but I come here as an individual, so no Sang's official spokesperson. But glad to be here with Mindmakers.
No, but we have, so as you can see, we have a different huge range of voices. And after the technical snafus over, the mutes are over, we'll get straight into the debate. So today for this debate, I wanted to do three specific topics, and what we're going to be focused on, since India is in focus after what happened since May 2014. What we wanted to do was have a debate on three different aspects: India after May 2014, the political issues, the national security and foreign policy issues, and the cultural issues, since the three of them are especially being debated. So first I'll start with the political issues. And as all of you guys know, I think after May 2014, you can say safely that, especially in the what has transpired in the last year, BJP has become now the central pole of what Indian politics surrounds, and other political parties are ganging up for the BJP, or the BJP is making gains where it was not first thought that it would be a little stronger. So what I was going to ask you was, do you see this trend continuing, or do you see them slowing down, considering the elections that are coming up in India, because they are in the states where BJP is not really strong. And I mean, first I'm going to throw this question to Sudhir, because the state where he is in, Sudhir is in Telangana, and in Telangana and the neighboring state of Andhra Pradesh, BJP has not been the strongest, particularly historically. So do you see that changing after May 2014? Sudhir.
Yeah, thanks, Aadit. No, sadly the answer is no. The BJP in both Telangana and AP has neither made strong attempts to become stronger, or are just lazy that their party is in power at the center. We have elections coming up to Hyderabad, the municipal corporation. I think the nominations are supposed to be filed by tomorrow or day after, and the party hasn't yet announced the candidates list as of now. That's how lazy the party here has become. Unfortunately, there is a lot of scope for them to gain being in opposition.
But
repeat the same issue. And in Andhra Pradesh, there is very little scope for them to even improve, because of the strong TDP and the YSRCP or the Congress have. So in the foreseeable future, they have no option but to stay in alliance with some party or the other. So because even in 2014, they could get only 10 seats in the alliance, right? But it was a good bargain, because of the 4 MLAs that got elected, 2 of them became ministers. That was a good bargain, but that pretty much stays. Yeah.
Interesting point.
The only hope is to be a kingmaker in the upcoming GHMC elections. That is the Hyderabad municipal corporation elections. And as of today, we don't see that happening.
I was going to say, provided they come up with the names.
Yes, provided they come up with the names. No, absolutely. And this brings us to an interesting point also, that and I'm going to throw it to Ramana soon enough, because Ramana also takes a keen interest in that state. But first I wanted to bring in Sagar. So in the state of Maharashtra, as you see, BJP has had the first chief minister in the history of Maharashtra. So what do you see on the ground? Because I saw some very interesting things when I just came back from Mumbai and Nagpur, and I saw the popularity of Devendra Fadnavis was extremely high. So I wanted to see what you think into it, Sagar.
Right. So there are 2 different aspects of Devendra Fadnavis tenure. So first one is on the ground. If you see people who are in public sector, government, they are very much clear that a lot of corruption has come. Things have started moving very fast. So if you look at the road projects, projects of airport, etc., everything is speeding up. But there are at a level of say media, or at a little higher level, where we see that there are a lot of issues being cropped up because of sleep, or could be because of other issues like nightlife in Mumbai and all of that. So there is a lot of irritant which is being thrown on Devendra Fadnavis government. but at the ground, the work is being done by the government. The worst part is because of these irritants, it looks like that Devendra Fadnavis is actually losing the agenda there. And in the recent local elections, BJP has lost badly to Congress. So this could be a problem, when it comes to next assembly election in Maharashtra.
Many would say that some of the irritants are in the alliance partners. So, but I'm not going to elaborate.
That is true for a lot of states, actually.
That, yeah.
Sunanda, I'm coming to Kashmir. I know, especially because right now it's in the focus. Especially, I heard today that Miss Mufti is going to meet the senior leadership of PDP, and I mean, I was shocked.
You mean she's going to stand in front of the mirror and talk to herself?
I was just about to say that. I was like, I found out that the senior PDP leadership exists after that thing, but. And then now we come to an interesting state of West Bengal, Somanjana. This is where everybody is waiting with bated breath, Somanjana. Considering what has been happening in the last week, what is your report card from West Bengal? What do you see? Is Mamata unassailable?
No. Well, strangely, well, as an NRI, like you mentioned, like since May 2014, a lot has changed for us from the terms of India, the whole branding, and I think Modi ji did a phenomenal job in strengthening the relationship between India and the diaspora, and the same things are being reflected in the ground level in West Bengal, where in the 2016, 2014 elections, people were very excited to stand with Modi ji, but unfortunately, we don't really see the results. Now, part of it is obviously the whole terror regime that's been marring West Bengal for the last 4 or 5 decades, and there is widespread booth rigging, and the law enforcement is totally in alliance with Trinamool Congress, the ruling party, and they're totally being manipulated. So it's a pretty dire straight situation out there. So a few days back, as you all know, that there's been an Islamic onslaught in the town of Kaliachak, where hundreds of people were beaten up, police cars were, burned, there were temples that were, burned. And, well, by now we all know how the mainstream media works in India, and there's been obviously, zero feature. I mean, it all came up.
No, definitely. When we talked about that, I'm going to come to that specific issue in a bit. And we're going to have an open debate on that, but I just wanted introductory comments from everyone before we
Right. Yeah. So, as you know, that it all came out on social media, and so the ground reality is that the local BJP in West Bengal is not doing as expected. I mean, part of it could be some lack of strategy from the local BJP government with the center, and how, although we know that a team from center that has visited Kaliachak, who had been surprisingly, half of those people, the committee members, were blocked from entering Kaliachak. But they're there, and Rajnath Singh ji is holding a meeting, and there is being processions, like rallies happening in Calcutta.
So what I feel from what Somanjana is saying, that the central leadership is ready with some ideas and ready to move in and spread the job.
Yes, but the local BJP leadership is failing miserably at this point, at this juncture. I mean, that is what we are seeing, that they're really not up to the mark.
I think what they need is a big face, or somebody that will can stand up to Mamata. So they have Rupa Ganguly at the moment. Let's see how she does. But I suppose it's the local leadership right now.
Well, we just had a change of regime, like Rahul Sinha is no longer state BJP president, but so it would take a little bit of time to build up momentum, I agree, but we still need a very, very strong voices out there.
And don't forget, the Malda Murshidabad area was a very stronghold of the Congress as well. It's been historically with the Congress.
Yeah, the communist Congress, communist Trinamool, and they are all part of the same gang. You know what I mean? At this point, what it looks like, it's BJP against Congress, CPIM, and TMC. So everyone is kind of ganging up.
Which is an interesting battle. But yeah, so moving on, I wanted a quick initial. Sorry?
I wanted to make a quick observation to add to what you were saying.
Yeah.
The central leadership is ready, but the local leadership is not.
Yeah, go on. Yes.
Yeah, Hyderabad and the erstwhile state of AP had a very severe power problem. And once the state was bifurcated, and then KCR came and told he will resolve the power problem in 3 years. And within a year, the power problem was resolved because the central government assisted the Telangana and the AP governments to come over that, and we now have a 24-hour power supply. And all over the state, we have big flexes of KCR showing him as the guy who solved the problem, while the local leadership of BJP was sleeping from a very long time. I would have gone to town saying, "Hey, we solved it because this got solved because we helped both the center and state work together." But now it's all KCR credit, and Modi ji or Piyush ji is not seen anywhere.
Yeah. So I think what everyone is pointing out to two things. What I see is the big picture, if I were to paint, so to speak, that the central leadership is up and about, and they are ready to, as I said, spread the wings and move into the areas that they have not been before. The local leadership is still lacking. So maybe what BJP needs to do is get some, it has not been a party traditionally that has had a high command or something. So it probably needs to work on some state faces. Like in Rajasthan, they have a very strong leader. Nobody can think about Rajasthan BJP without Vasundhara. Or in Shivraj Singh Chauhan in Madhya Pradesh. So people like that, they need to work on in states where they are lacking. Second part, which Sudhir pointed out, and I knew he was going to say this sooner or later, communication. So I suppose while they are there are some issues, but whatever little they are doing is really not coming out as well. I mean, or even if they are doing quite a bit, it's not coming out as well. So that is something I believe after May 2014, because when you introduced the segment, you said BJP after May 2014. So
no, I said in Indian politics. Yeah.
Yeah. We'll probably get back to that, I know, but the dissemination of information has been woeful.
Absolutely. So before that, I wanted to go to Ramana and Haritha for quick first comments as well. So Ramana, what is your understanding? How has it changed?
It has changed in a different way than what many people have expected, in my view. So people have expected like the oomph factor, what you call like changing the finances, most of the middle class things. That's what people have expected. But I think BJP has learned a lesson from APV era. So what they wanted to do is to get to the bottom of the pyramid first. So that's why you see they are mostly helping out the bottom of the pyramid people. Like if you talk about the communities, castes, and things like that, for the major part of the India, they are targeting the Dalit. If you see, there is no Dalit leadership in any national party. I don't think Congress will get back what it had. And Mayawati or all this. See, if you see even Bihar, you always should not see losses in just 1.5 years or 2 years. You see the full picture. I think what they are doing with even at the economic progress level also, they are trying to do this more of a Mudra Bank, Jan Dhan Yojana, and also if you see anything that they are doing how I can save the bottom of the pyramid of India. That is a loyal voter always. The middle class is like this. Hey, you said you have not given me tax break, so I will not vote for you. You said you did not.
Pramod is smiling away, ready to completely disagree with you, Ramana.
No. What Ramanaji is saying is essentially that BJP is the new Congress. Essentially, the winning formula is to go, and I might agree with him. I'm just peeved at this sudden change from the middle class BJP that we have known to basically shifting the pole position to where they are right now. And he might be right. I am looking forward to hearing his thoughts on that.
No, we'll come back to him on that. Before that, I wanted to talk to Haritha. And Haritha, this is an interesting thing which came up. If you just noticed, we've started this for 15-20 minutes and we've still not talked about that ruling party in Delhi. And that is what a lot of people are peeved at, that the Indian media does not even wait for that much. So how do you view the situation in Delhi? And I have to ask you, what do you think about the odd even plan?
Oh yeah, there's been much going on about this odd even plan, but the ground reality, as most of the pollution board agencies have pointed out, is that barring two phases, like where there has been reduced levels of pollution, the particulate matter level has more or less remained the same. And added to that, even the meteorological conditions have been quite favorable. So that like whatever effect is shown on pollution is like has been enhanced, or more to say that even if there hasn't been more odd even plan, it's been reported that this the hottest January Delhi has seen in the last 20 years.
Yeah.
Okay. So, so to say that more of these meteorological conditions have played favorably in terms of odd even plan.
No,
But then, yeah.
The reason why I brought on this, and the reason I specifically said that this topic was going to be India after May 2014, because this has been one feature. You know, after May 2014, you also had a situation where Arvind Kejriwal won Delhi elections, and I mean every media organization seemed to be focusing on him. And especially, I thought this odd even plan was an overhyped up plan, and he was trying to play his politics through these plans and diktats and so forth. So it's kind of interrelated to the whole thing, and that's why I wanted to bring you in on that, Harit.
Right, you're absolutely right in saying that they have rolled out the odd even plan on the same day when the assembly has voted up for 400% rise in the MLA perks. Yes. Okay, so that was like that issue got muted out, and then they played out with this. And similarly, the same case when they have like ruled out some kind of a perks for the local teachers. That was in like that they have played out when this former law minister was like arrested for the domestic violence.
No. We're talking about a different guy. Acha, Somnath Bharati.
Somnath Bharati. Okay, so they were playing two issues together at a time, so that one of it gets muted out and the other they would play it out politically very well.
Interesting point. And now I want to interesting points. And now I want to throw this out, as an open debate for the last 5-10 minutes, and then we'll jump on to the national security debate. In a sense, and feel free to jump in, guys. What do you guys think? What are the key takeaways from this year? And what do you think? How do you see Indian politics changing up next year? Do you see the BJP making inroads in West Bengal and Kerala, or do you think status quo? And do we see the same parliament blockade and stuff like that? How do you guys think?
At the risk of getting trolled, I am wanting to think that the 2014 performance of BJP has been its best, obviously, and going by what has been happening after that, I think it is going to be next elections. It may have a tough time matching up that performance or just staying in those numbers. I don't see the footprint increasing, and I will tell you the reason for that. The elections this year, I don't see BJP making any serious inroads in Punjab. I don't see BJP making a huge success in Assam. It is up there. Next year we see UP. At the moment, UP, we have always said this on our podcast also, that for UP, they need a face. The time when BJP go to elections just on on a wave election with Modi's face on the thing. No, I don't think that's going to happen anymore.
There is this nonsensical phrase in India called collective leadership. Nothing like that
exists.
You can't have a collective leadership.
So if I had to give one advice to BJP at the moment, I would say let the local leadership thrive.
No, I agree. I absolutely no, and you have to give them 6 to 12 months. But I think Sudhir was trying to make a point. So, Sudhir, what were you saying?
On what changed? I was reminded of an article Sunanda wrote about a couple of years back, saying talking about the big small things that Modi used to do when he was chief minister. I think that's what is going to define his entire till 2019. The big small changes that he brings into the system is definitely going to make a long-term impact.
Yeah.
Now, how much will people remember in 2019 is a subjective thing. Like he removed no more interviews per group 3 and 4 posts, right? Now, those who get in now will have to remember that in 2019 and see, hey, it benefited me and then stuff like that. No attestation. The participation on Twitter of the ministers, it's been unheard of, right? We never knew you could contact a minister. Such small things are definitely going to change Indian governance, politics aside. But now, how much is it going to impact 2019 is a long way, I think.
Even the fact that people are talking about Clean India. How much we succeed is a different thing, but at least that conversation has started. What you said, Sudhir, I completely agree with him. But since we're talking about the politics and not governance, I don't know if Aadit has a question about governance. If you ask a question about governance and policy, my answer is going to be completely different. Because I am quite happy with a lot of governance things and policy initiatives that have been taken. But as far as the politics is concerned, because these are two different things. So as far as politics is concerned, I see a little stunting happening.
No, but
as far as governance and policies are concerned, I just hope and wish that they were, disseminated as fast as they were being made.
But they're intertwined.
Just
Sagar. First Sagar and then Haritha. Yes, Sagar.
Yeah, when you talk to the local BJP folks here in Maharashtra or in Chhattisgarh, there is one problem or irritant they face that now today you have a high command which is very powerful and feel empowered the way earlier they used to, right? Earlier the BJP was run locally by the people, but not today. Today every decision has to come from top, and that's what Sunanda said. One is the face, the local face there, and also empowered face there. Will take BJP ahead, otherwise it will be very difficult.
I think what Sagar is trying to say, decentralization of power also there, and which is an interesting point, definitely. Haritha, you were trying to say something, yes.
Yeah, just I want to add few more things to that. That's like BJP must ensure that there should be a second rung of leadership that should emerge.
Absolutely.
Because what we have seen in Bihar is like Modi has been carried all over the state to campaign. Like it wasn't necessary for a topmost leader to go to all the places and campaign. Instead, it should have been a good a strategy. They had not
Modi, I meant. Yes.
Not necessarily, but maybe like he should be reserved for some of the few very important venues, or to cover some rather important events, rather than blowing out the horns, the conch shell over and again the same way at every other venue he's going.
Pramod has this wonderful one line. He's called "Familiarity breeds contempt."
Exactly.
The problem that is seeping through is that there are three areas which brought Narendra Modi to power, which basically got him that vote percentage. The biggest percentage is the one that felt that BJP, at least under Narendra Modi's, the difference is in the perception of going after corruption. That going after corruption, perceived, even if it is like your Arvind Kejriwal does the often hit and run sort of thing, the perception creation from a party like the BJP, which has had probably one of the brightest strategies in media, at least when the media is not supportive of them. I feel that is the crux of the again. Sunandaji also talked about the politics of it. It is the perception of it as well. Not just about the headlines part. It is how you carry the message forward. The message, if it is not going through, who is the foot soldier? If there is an MP or a group of MPs, that sole task is to talk about these at the ground level. Forget TV, forget your internet and all that. who is going there and doing the campaigning, because he has to campaign for 2019 from now. There is a different weighing that happens between BJP and the other parties. BJP always got to be in campaign mode, unfortunately for them.
No, I agree, Pramod. I'll have to cut you short a little bit there because we are running out of time, and I want quick closing comments from Ramana and Somanjana on this segment. Then we have to move to the national security and cultural issues, which I'm sure everyone's raring to have, waiting to have a go at. So, Ramana, quick closing comment from you on this.
Quick closing comment is the perception creation or the media management are impossible things. So trying to do those impossibilities is not what they are trying. In my view, they are really trying a long haul where they get a section of the votes for themselves in 2019. Between now and before going to 2019, they probably will win Assam in all calculation, and they won't win anything else. They will try hard for UP. UP is like a
No, I think they might still win Gujarat.
yeah. Gujarat is there.
Gujarat.
That doesn't count. That's cheating. That doesn't count.
No, before 2019, you have Rajasthan, Madhya Pradesh,
They will
Chhattisgarh.
win the current state.
Should
Let
win
me
all of them.
clarify. They will win Gujarat, Madhya Pradesh, Chhattisgarh, Rajasthan, and also the small states of
Chhattisgarh, I'm not too sure though.
Are-
Ajit Jogi is over. So I think they will win. They will scrape through in Chhattisgarh. In my view.
Because Ajit Jogi is over, probably it's a problem with BJP.
So I think they will win the small states also. Uttaranchal, they will win Himachal, they will win all those things they will win. So they basically has a good shot at 2019 if they can get what I said earlier, the bottom of the pyramid community, if they can get. That's the strategy I see from most of the things that they are doing.
Interesting point. Quick, so closing points, Somanjana, and before I'm going to jumping on to national security then. Yeah.
Okay. So, I totally resonate with what Pramod and Sunanda was telling about politics and governance. We also need to remember that why Indians voted for Narendra Modi in the first place. Because, they kind of aligned themselves with the vision that is projected in terms of development and taking India to the next level. Now, all of a sudden, in the state elections, we see that the same issues that's been marring India and its growth, for so many years, the caste-based politics, the religion-based politics, the minority appeasement-based politics, and those things are playing a crucial role in determining who the chief minister is going to be. So we Indians also have a responsibility. What do we really want? Do we really want to go take India to the next level, or do we really want to get into this rut of, petty politics and petty issues that is not helping
So to
us?
sum up what you're saying, you're saying that
It's not just a BJP issue. I think it's a mindset issue, and I think BJP needs to communicate that more effectively. That is there, but also Indians need to understand what is required at the moment and vote judiciously.
Interesting points. Fantastic first third of the debate. I wouldn't say first half, but the next half, or the next third of the debate, we wanted to talk about foreign policy, national security, and other things, and that especially has been in the focus. So in this part, I'm going to keep it an open debate. So feel free to jump in, guys, on this. And what has the foreign policy been? We've seen innovative foreign policy and innovative diplomacy after May 2014, no question about that. My friend Sunanda has this dialogue that it was sleeping and now it's on steroids right now. She always says that. So before she says it again, I say it for her. So,
you stole my takiya kalam.
हाँ अब कोई और कलाम यूज कर लो तो but so I wanted to run it by you. So I wanted to come to Ramana first, since foreign policy is your specific idea of interest, and you caught this wonderful Trishanku piece that that still resonates right now. We still people are still coming on and reading that piece for Mind Makers that you wrote.
Yeah, thank you. I think it's a phenomenal year in terms of foreign policy. He has laid out even before the election what should be India. So he is still trying on that angle. So he made a point which I wrote in one of the articles on China, the Vishwaguru concept. That's what he wants to go ahead. In Vishwaguru concept, there is a slight difference from the way the superpower the world has. Like militaristic superpower is one thing. Vishwaguru is where a philosophical guru and the world listens you because of our sheer philosophical power. It's like a carrot and a stick, but you don't use too much of a stick. But how I can be a leader around the world using the the core values of a human civilization. That's
The
what he's
soft
trying.
power concept also.
Yeah, soft power and everything included in that one. So if you see in that angle, he has done excellent work. Not he, I should say the government. I want to take one example which might have missed many of the articles. Look at Nepal. A lot of people might have missed this point. I don't know. I haven't read much about this one. If you go by Nepal, if you see the Nepal's geography, most of its fertile land is in the southern part of the horizontal country. So the southern part is also occupied by people who are called as Madheshis, right? Madheshis are the community which has relationship with most of the Indians in the border states like Uttar Pradesh and Bihar. They have the same kind of disturbances like caste disturbances and etc. So in the past, some of them use it to be used as some pressure points on the Nepalese elite who doesn't want to have like an Indian relationship. So instead of that one, what Narendra Modi's very first visit, which I call like a Ashwamedha Yajna, but what he did is he just said, I don't care about this Madheshis. Let me talk to the elite and say elite is the heart of Nepal. Let me talk to the Nepalese heart. So he went and he talked, and he did not even give an audience to this Madheshis. So you know what he did? Finally, what the achievement was? The entire Madheshis left their divisions, caste, etc. out of their world, and they united and they said, let me fight for a great Nepal where everybody is treated equally. See, right now what happened is the elite people of the northern hilly regions are less populated, but they have more seats in the parliament of Nepal, but Madheshis has less seats. So now the pressure point, I didn't meet the Madheshis, but I only met the elite, but Madheshis has revolted. So I don't need to do anything. See, this is what is called, you don't do anything, but you get what you want. So I think everywhere there is a subaltern movement that he is bringing in the foreign policy in the neighbors. That's what this government is doing. Some analysts are identifying such things. Most of the analysts are not really identifying such things. That's my take.
The next, before I come to the analyst who has identified some things on mind makers, Haritha, I'm talking about you. I'm going to come to Sudhir first. He hasn't spoken in a while, and then I'm going to come to Haritha next. Sudhir, yes. So any additions to the foreign policy debate? And then Haritha, yes.
You know, when it comes to foreign policy, I get stuck with Narendra Modi's speech early, I think late 2014 or early 2015, where he was explaining in Parliament how he met a Nobel laureate from Japan so that they can use his research to enhance some farmer output in Chhattisgarh. I don't remember exactly, but I come back to the small things that he does when he goes out, right? The big things, the optics, everything is anyway there. The small things, the innovative things that Ramana just explained. I'm just stuck at that speech where he said I went to met a scientist in Japan, in Australia, Fiji Islands. Those things are the most striking aspects of what he wants to achieve when he goes out of the country.
No, interesting point, definitely. And Haritha, if you wanted to add something to this, I'm sure.
Yeah, right. One of the acclaimed Indian strategists, he recently wrote an article saying that India has moved from non-alignment to multi-alignment now. So that's the phase India has been really going forward. Like from 1960s, it has been non-aligned movement, and then India has remained really quite sleepy all through the while, and then it never had any strong foreign policy, so to say. And then it has been a balancing power, and then never had the nerve, or I should say, to just focus its potential truly. And it's only under Narendra Modi that India is like emerging as a leading nation in the South Asia at least, and then it's trying to extend its forays. Be it like its alignment with the US, Japan, and then that Malabar exercise, and then recently Australia has also evinced interest in joining all these things. That's one part of the strategy, and another thing is like maybe people might agree or disagree, but there has been like reports indicate that transgressions across the Indo-China border has really come down, and then there is some kind of an activity that's really going on in the foreign policy, and then like external affairs is really doing a great job in sense of like rescuing the Indians who are trapped in Yemen, and then kind of things which are done for the people who are kidnapped in Afghanistan. Initially a Christian from hailing from Tamil Nadu was like holed up in Afghanistan. He was rescued, and then it has become really quite proactive, and then people have been really seeing some great change in that. And another thing is use of soft diplomacy, which has been really like won over the hearts of Indian diaspora who are settled all across the globe. That's one thing, like bringing them back to Indian fold and making them like think about India, and all these kinds of different aspects of foreign policy which were undermined by previous leaderships. So I think it's like it has been a great change and a welcome change.
So one interesting thing before I come to the next panelist, for all our viewers who are still watching, and if you notice, we haven't used the P word in foreign policy. No mention of Pakistan yet, and that is exactly how it should be. Pakistan is a part of our foreign policy. It's not the foreign policy for India, and that has, I think, changed. Of course, it hasn't changed in some of new studios. They still keep on debating about Pakistan and whatnot and so forth. But if you notice, none of our first three speakers said much about it. So just wanted to point that fact out.
So simply put it, it's not a foreign policy anymore. Pakistan is a Pakistan problem. They are only dealing with the foreign policy related to Pakistan as a problem, whereas with other countries, it's a relationship. That's a fundamental difference now.
Sorry, Sunanda, you were saying something?
No, I said that's an excellent point that Ramana made just now, that Pakistan is a problem and it will remain a problem. It's not going to end anytime soon, with or without.
Before you come in, just wanted comments from Sagar and Somanjana. They haven't spoken. Feel free to jump in, guys, with your point of view. What were you saying?
Yeah, so for me, foreign policy had been more of trial and error. If you look at it, the multi-alliance which we talk about, like Haritha spoke about, it's definitely Modi is trying to do that, but there have been some failures as well. Warming up to China had not been very successful, but there have been some successes as well, like Sri Lanka from unfavorable state, it has gone to favorable state now. Pakistan, as you said, we have taken out the rhetoric completely. Now, for a Hindu government, taking out rhetoric out of Pakistan is excellent achievement, I would say. So there have been some successes, but I would still say that it's a mixed bag of success and failures. But we are probably going to a right direction.
No, so Somanjana.
Yeah, totally agree. I think keeping the big picture in mind, the whole world geopolitics, the bigger perspective in relations with India's foreign policy, I think we are definitely, under the Modi government, we are moving in the right direction, and we do have a voice and a presence, finally.
And also, one more thing I wanted to add, and to give credit where it's due, Sheikh Hasina has been a formidable ally for India in the last 1.5 years. And the Indo-Bangladesh relationship has improved massively. She's gone out on a limb. Of course, this was in the works before Narendra Modi took over as the Prime Minister. So we have to acknowledge that as well as analysts. But this has only gone forward as the government has taken over, and Sheikh Hasina has done a lot of things, be it the land boundary agreement. I mean, the LBA was a huge achievement in my view. Yeah,
absolutely. Yeah.
I mean, to think about it, two countries exchanging land without having many disagreements, and therefore having the chief ministers of states on board. That was quite interesting, I thought.
The biggest achievement in a multilateral world is the climate control agreement. Most of the time, we are always on the protesting side or non-signatory side. So we made a move. We walked the path of let's close this one. So we really signed it finally. Of course, everything has some disagreements. We won't like to sign certain things, but at least we have to give something to take something. So we finally signed it.
Absolutely. Pramod, before we wrap this segment up, I wanted to you to weigh in on the national security and foreign policy, the interconnected part, and then I wanted just to have a quick 5 minutes open debate where everyone jumps in. So after you make that point, Sunanda, feel free to jump in after Pramod does it. Yeah.
One of the biggest things that Modi has seriously been doing is to cultivate Africa. I think the stance taken by the commerce minister in the WTO negotiations in Nairobi was subject to a lot of ridicule and criticism by people who felt that we were going down a little bit of a socialist path by kind of being belligerent about it. But the goodwill that was generated in Africa is enormous, and Africa is the hub of resources. It has been thoroughly exploited in the past. There has never been any reverence or respect for the rejuvenation part of a resource in any African country, and that is where India has stolen a march, and that has to be leveraged enormously in moving in the future. National security has been, I think, a big revelation for Narendra Modi as well, and I think Ramnaji might add to this, is trying to analyze what our strengths are versus what our weaknesses are has never been done at the prime ministerial level. Usually it was the national security advisor or the tri-services chief who would have a laundry list of what they were acquiring and what they had to acquire, and that itself would basically take the 5 years worth of acquisition. What Modi has realized is how do you use that as leverage, and Ramnaji has written that exceedingly well when it came to the Rafale fighters. Earlier, it was supposed to be 126 fighters with option to acquire a little bit more. Now it is down to 36, and that has not been signed yet. And France is begging right now with its economy going down. It is so dependent, and he doesn't mind saying that. Acha, आपको आपके दो चार district में, if you want the economy to grow, I would like you to also go and talk to Canada and get me that nuclear fuel that you guys have been, really being reluctant about it. So he has used that leverage for certain technologies that are desperately needed, again, according to the assessments that are being given to him. But he knows that at this point, he needs to get some more time for everybody to be prepared to whatever, yeah.
Yeah, what I wanted to say is that what I like about Narendra Modi's foreign policy is that he has put trade, defense procurement, and foreign policy all together. This is something that has not happened before. So, all these silos that were there, this is for the first time, I would say, out of box diplomacy, so to speak, that we will talk about trade, we will talk about defense procurement, we'll talk about foreign policy, and all this will be connected. So it's everywhere Modi is going, he's giving this package deal, so to speak. You talk some, we talk some, let's talk about a lot of different issues. So that has been something that is very, very interesting to me. So Make in India or Startup India that happened yesterday in India, all these are part of foreign policy as much as they are part of economics and trade. So that to me is a revelation. That to me is something that Modi has brought about. Another thing, I mean, we don't talk much about Pakistan on this show because as we are the only ones who called it an minor irritant. But the minor irritant, I do want to let our viewers know, because I spent a lot of time studying Pakistan, that this is not going to why. This is not going to go away anytime soon. And to call Lahore diplomacy, and I want to go out there, put myself out there and say this, Lahore diplomacy, and by the way, right is a monolith, but even my partner Pramod does not agree with me, but I say it still, that going to Lahore was not a mistake. Reaching out to Pakistan is not a mistake, but talking to them is not a mistake. Trusting Pakistan is a mistake, and I do not think Narendra Modi will do that mistake ever of trusting. He will make sure that our interests are safeguarded, but at the same time, if the engagement has to be done at a certain level, it will be done. We will as I said, there will be some problems before we finally get there, but it is a long haul. Pakistan is a long haul.
No, I mean, if you were expecting us to give you an Arnab type of response, Sunanda, that is not going to happen.
Okay, the final thing I just want to add about Pakistan is like, however much we want to dismiss Pakistan, we can't ignore it.
Yeah.
And another thing is like, uh, a war with Pakistan or a conflict with Pakistan is more on ideological terms rather than about geographical territory. So, so to say that like the extremist ideology is deeply ingrained in them, and it's not a conventional war or a direct war that India can wage over Pakistan.
Because those
and
we have already had, Haritha. We've had conventional wars. We have won them, and Pakistan problem has not been solved.
That's what it's more to deal with an ideology. So when something is rooted in ideology, the solutions have to be quite different.
Let me give a 10-second rebuttal here, Aadit. The fact is that before this, what you say about ideology is really on the spot. But before this, we were fighting. Before 9/11, we were fighting the ideology on our own. Now the fight has increased. The fight has gone all towards the world. So I don't feel India is isolated anymore when it is fighting.
I think it was very
war with that
significant.
ideology.
I think it was very significant that Obama mentioned Pakistan the way he did in the State of the Union address.
Right,
I mean,
right.
And also the fact that the Congress said that they are putting a hold on the sales of F-16s. Now, Pramod has his own theory about why this happened, and I don't want to open a Pandora's box right now. So, so we'll reserve the extended debate on Pakistan a little later.
We want people to listen to our podcast also.
So if you haven't yet, do check out Mindmakers podcast. It's right on our homepage. If you have missed it, then you're probably looking at a different homepage. So it's too hard to miss. So no, but anyways, it's very fascinating points, guys, on this the foreign policy and national security debate. It's a pity that we could not debate on national security as much as we wanted to. But in the interest of time, I want to wrap this hangout with the final stretch and the most intriguing one, because this has been in the news for, I mean, every time a right of center government takes over. It happened during the time of Vajpayee. It's happened again the time of Narendra Modi, and that is the battle between the cultural left and the cultural right, or the battle of the ideology. And the reason why I use this word cultural is because that's how the left classifies. I don't see that battle. I just see a battle of competing ideology where both should have an equal say, but one side has monopolized the discourse so much for the last 60 years that it's, and I use this word ideological fiefdoms, because its ideological fiefdoms are being challenged. There is a problem right now.
But what is a cultural left?
Hmm?
What is a cultural left?
No, well, I should have said cultural left, Sunanda. Cultural in quotes. So, anyways, I don't want to elaborate there. That again is for the podcast. But I wanted to throw this to Sagar and Somanjana first. So first, coming to you, Sagar, since you have taken on this narrative of Aurangzeb that they were trying to peddle in the last last 2 weeks, 3 weeks, or something. If you would like to kick this debate off.
Right. So things, right? So what I say is that the cultural left again.
Exactly.
So they picked up the victimhood, and we pick up the conspiracy theory. So I think so both of us probably are wrong. What left is saying today is that the Hindu or the Saffron Brigade is trying to hijack their intellectual institution, blah blah, and trying to distort history, which they already have done so much that we can't do it now. But so that's the fear or the victimhood they go with, and they're trying to fight back vociferously with all this intolerance debate, or coming up with a lot of agenda-based articles on different Aurangzeb and different kind of issues. Even in Ram Temple, they are coming up with now that Ram Temple was never there. So I saw some couple of articles in last few days. So that's the victimhood which is driving them. But what I see is that the right should not be driven by the conspiracy theory alone. Because what I saw, I'll give you an example of Jallikattu articles. Past few days I saw the articles which were written by rights were more towards that, okay, left is trying to undermine the Hindu Dharma. Now, if that is the that is the narrative we want to choose, we are actually losing out the right arguments which we have. We have the argument of your domestic kettle is not going to survive if you don't have things like Jallikattu. So these are the strong arguments we should put across rather than saying that there is a conspiracy theory or Hindu Dharma is under threat from left, etc., etc. So that's my opening comment on this.
Very interesting comment. And the reason I wanted to bring Somanjana next is she's written for the Huffington Post here, and so she's seen the US left. And also there is a different kind of battle going on between the left and right in America as well, the academic discourse. So if you wanted to weigh in quickly on this, Somanjana.
Well, thank you, Aadit. Well, first of all, when it comes to a nation's history, traditions, culture, arts, I don't really see, there should be a bifurcation in terms of left and right. It's just a bifurcation in terms of truth and distortion of truth. Unfortunately, India has gone through this whole, this whole period where people, especially academics and philosophers and proponents of Indian culture in the West, have for some reason distorted the truth to an extent that the global citizenry has a very different distorted perspective on our ancient culture, and also how we have grown as communities and how our cultures have kind of grown. And I don't really see that why we still want to hamper on that left-right issue. What we really want to do, and which I think I have great expectation from Narendra Modi, that we should have a sense of ownership to know and understand our culture better and bring out the truth, and let go the distorted history books that have been marring the education system in India for a very long time, and pay for revolution. We deserve to do at least this much for not just us, for generations to come, and that truth needs to come out. So in terms of culture, in the Western societies, this left-right divide exists very well, and we see it in media, we see it in publications, we see it in their Ivy League schools, and there is somewhat, there is always this divide of, and that is either based out of religion, either based out on economy, either based out on minority, and in some respects. But I just don't see a reason India, which stands on the foundation of very different multicultural ethos and philosophies, why we should really imitate that process. We should be on our own.
I think just to add to what Sumanjana is saying, denying the possibility of having certain sections of the society or the economy at large be clinging on to the philosophy of socialism is it's not easy for the right or the philosophical right to deny that possibility to exist. Say, for example, this whole Make in India is all about increasing manufacturing. Manufacturing, which means getting people who are in the service sector to work in the manufacturing sector. Once massive movement of population moves from the service sector to the manufacturing sector, trade unionism becomes an automatic side effect of it. Trade unionism is classic left. Now, we have not come to that phase in our democracy where classic left and classic right are able to debate on policy and economic issues equally, as far as and also with the cultural issues at the ground level. So as the economy grows, also Narendra Modi, I consider him to be more of a civilizational leader. How do you want India of the next 25-30 years to be before announcing these policies have all the repercussions at the middle class level also been taken into consideration? Tomorrow the middle class might not vote for the BJP, but do you want the middle class to be constantly anti-establishment, or do you want the middle class to be aspiring to be creating something that is in tune with our karmic and dharmic way? That is a very big bridge. I know he started that Startup India thing yesterday. It's very important for the young to also have that incentive given for them to fail as well, not just to succeed. Success basically makes them go away from the standard formula of left versus right. So I have a very different philosophical take at this.
So Pramodji, one point here, you rightly said about the people who are kind of on a lower strata comparatively are going to be enticed by left, and how we can save them from being enticed from the left is not really from the economic perspective. We can do that. There is a lot of educational reform which needs to be done, so that this kind of philosophy which can be ingrained on those people, and they aspire to kind of go to the higher strata rather than getting enticed with the left and start fighting for that.
When you talk about educational reform, I have to bring in the person who got the interview with Smriti Irani, one of the only ones to do so. So Sudhir, and also get in the I had to talk about that. It was
a lot of people might get interview with Smriti Irani. The only person who gets her to talk policy and issues is Sudhir Kumar.
Exactly. No, I used the word that interview very deliberately, because I want policy-based interview, not the other ones. Anyway, Sudhir, yes.
It was a very good one. I have to say this one.
We have Sudhir to thank for this, Ramana.
Yeah, I wrote in the airport. I saw the Burka interview in the night, and I'm like, who does an interview like this at this stage?
No, but I wanted to bring cultural debate.
The cultural part. No, I'm frankly, I'm not very familiar with the cultural debate that goes around. I've been a very bad student of history while at school. So I even forgot Aurangzeb, was not a good ruler. I just remember him as some ruler. But I have a rule of thumb. If I don't have an opinion on anything, I go and look at the cultural left, and then whatever they have, the opposite of that, in my opinion. Blindly I can take that opinion.
I think the amount of times everyone has used cultural left, I feel my usage of this term will come back to haunt me. So, quickly, Sunanda, what you were trying to say?
Interesting points, I have to say. But when we talk about left and right, as Somanjana was saying, I agree with her. Those things become moot point, after a while, and now they have sort of this thing. But most of us understand when we talk about right and left what we're talking about. Most people in India, what happens is you campaign either from left or from right, but when you are in power, you are right in center, and that has what happened with a lot of people. That has happened with Narendra Modi as well. He has governed from the center, and most of his economic policies, if you're talking about economic left and right, most of his policies have not been what economic right would have been very, very happy about. But that is not to be expected. I don't think we are going to see any privatization of Air India anytime soon. I don't see we are going to see privatization of railways anytime soon. That is not going to happen. But what is going to happen, so in that sense, it's not a completely economic right government. We have not seen a right center government that way. But Narendra Modi is a pragmatist. He will do what is right. He is not going to worry about right and left labels. He is going to deliver. He is going to see what will work what will work the best for the country. So that is about the economics part of it. About the cultural left, I think cultural right and left. Cultural right, really, in its real sense, is very nascent in India. It has just about started breathing few years ago. So it's not really right to compare, when anything, when something starts, there is a lot of noise. There is a lot of schizophrenia. So I see a lot of schizophrenia in the right at the moment, in the nascent right, but those are growing up pains. I do see right flowering with the advent of technology. Thankfully, right is very open to, as much as they are criticized for being backward and not this thing, they have completely embraced the technology. And that has helped people like us do this right now. I mean, this was not even possible. I mean, 6 years ago, I would write and people would not even publish me, you know. Or if they would publish, there would be major changes that would have to be made, or so on and so forth. So things have changed.
No, I know, no, I agree with you. But what I was trying to say is that with a cultural right coming in, or with a right of center discourse coming in, the sense of comfort level that was settled with the left, who had been entrenched in this institution, that is slowly disappearing. And what we are seeing with the narrative of intolerance and, you know, this award vapsi and whatnot is, it's a reaction to that, you know, discomfiture, that their ideology, their fiefdoms are being challenged, or at least a semblance of balance they're trying to get into the narrative, and this is what they're disagreeing with. And that is what we are saying. So where your point about light being nascent is well taken, and the noise being coming and so forth. I think the other side also, we're seeing, I mean, the amount of reactions which are saying, some of them are frankly crazy, because, I mean, you know, and they're filled with conspiracy theories and whatnot, because of this, you know. You should have seen that Nayantara Sagar interview, where she was talking about the fascist government, and I was like, I don't know, was she seeing Indira Gandhi's picture when she talked about fascist government?
No, those are, you know, as I said, this is a cabal that has been, you know, divested from power, and any time you are used to certain amount of power and it's completely taken away from you, you don't know what to do with yourself. So you start hallucinating.
I know.
Sagar also started hallucinating.
So that discomfiture. But I wanted to.
Left is hallucinating in India at the moment. I am not worried about the left. I am more worried about the right, and I hope they, you know, there is this vacuum at the moment, and I hope they are able to fill it the right way.
So before we start ending, and we have like 5 minutes, I have 5 minutes on the clock. Ramana wanted to make a point. So Ramana, yes.
See, I have a slightly different point on this one.
Sudhir, I'm coming to you next. Yes. Hi, Ramana.
See, left and right, as Somanjana has said, fits in the Western world, where neither the left nor the right are anti-national. Means whether you come to United States or even UK, anywhere, both of them actually work for their country in their own aspects of their own groups. The stark reality of India is the left means purely anti-national, and the right or center, whatever you want to say, they are the only one working for the country. If we don't make that distinction, we will be always blocking our mind into the Western concept of this left and right. So if you put, until you put this into your brain, we will not be able to analyze properly. So everything that left is doing, all these intolerances or whatever you want to say, they're all run by some other outside the nation, not by just India. The cabal is not just inside internal India, it is a widespread wings around the world. So it is being run so to bring down India. Fundamentally, that's what we need to get into. Regarding the right side, right of India, if we still put in that block, I think I will measure this government on two aspects. How they will deal with West Bengal, that's a fundamental important. That is the one which will write the history of India for the future. How we will deal with West Bengal is most important. Second thing is, they got full majority this time. They should end up passing the resolution to construct the Ram temple. Then only we can talk about really right wing of India. Until then, this is just a namesake right wing. There is no right wing yet in India.
There may be agreements or disagreements with you, Ramana, on that, but I'm going to throw the floor open to Sudhir and then Sagar. They wanted to make 2 quick points. So Sudhir first, and then Sagar. Jump in, Sagar, after this.
Yeah. Smriti Irani actually missed only one question in the interview we sent her, and that is related to the history, the content in the history books. And,
I remember that.
And what the government proposes to do about that. Yeah, I think it's a technical thing on her part to do. So, which feeling I'm getting, aspect that this government is taking up seriously. And frankly, I don't have a big view on that because, like I said, I'm not a big history buff or I haven't studied much on that. So that is the point I wanted to make. I don't think it is in the top priorities of this government to bring in the history aspect of at least our education.
Interesting point. Sagar, you
So
wanted to say something?
one quick point was,
That speaking,
when we say,
Just 1 second. Yeah, Sudhir, what were you saying?
no, I'm saying I don't know if it's good or bad. I'm not saying it's good or bad. It's not in the priority list, but it's just my observation that it is not in the priority list.
Interesting. Yeah, Sagar. Yes, you're saying something.
so when we say, that the entire left is anti-national, so now that's something I think it's a very strong point to make. I would still say that a lot of people in left who think about the country, and I would say there are kind of sleeper cell to the right. And our next challenge will be to how to bring them back into our fold, and align to our thoughts rather than actually making a clear cut black and white distinction of left is bad and right is good.
No, I agree with you on the foot soldier part, but the drivers are all anti-national. Foot soldiers will go, as you said, they are poor people and they don't have an ideology. First of all, they look for at the end of the day they can get their square meal or not. So they will go with anything that you can drive them. But the drivers of India's left is just anti-national. That's my point.
Yeah, no, absolutely. As I said, bringing those foot soldiers, bringing those people who are actually in the sleeper cell to our fold is going to be the next challenge for us.
Some interesting points. Sunanda, you were nodding your head with Ramana.
Yeah, when Ramana was saying that, really feel that we should, a lot of time should be spent on ourselves, on trying to, because left has stolen a march on right when it comes to scholarship and everything. And this is not anything that right has done. This is also because right has not had a political patronage. When you don't get political patronage, then this stuff is going to happen. Most people, if you're not going to get certain positions in certain organizations, you're not going to get positions of power in all these government-run institutions, then obviously that kind of scholarship will wither away, or your ideology will become what is the ideology of the government. So most of these people, I think they saw which side of the bread the butter will be buttered. So they, all of them sort of became Congress ideology rather than left ideology. That is what happened in the last so many years.
Whereas I agree with you, Sunanda. But I think still there are some very left of the left ideologues. But more or less, I agree with your point on the Congress ideology.
Yeah.
But just before you complete your point,
but in India, I just want to say that I do not have problem with left ideologues at all in India.
Absolutely.
I do not have problem with right ideologues also. I have a problem with in between people who are neither here nor there.
Yeah.
Who are, who pretend to be liberal but aren't liberal. Who pretend to be left but aren't left. There are very few people who really are ethically left in India. And there are very few people who are ethically right in India. And that has to change.
We found
those
out
are the cheats, I guess.
But there is only one way to find that out, na, Sunanda. Release the wrong election results 1 hour and then change them and find out who flips, who rationalizes it.
Yes, and we have had that. We have had that debate.
Yeah,
we have had that debate. Bihar election.
Yeah, listen to the podcast that me and Sunanda did on the Bihar elections.
The Bihar elections, the real leftists, they were, for a minute they said, I'm going to take 1 minute, Aadit, I have to explain this. Yes. For a little bit, about 30 minutes or 40 minutes, they were showing BJP winning. So all our centrists, they actually went on to say, BJP ran a wonderful campaign, BJP did well, BJP did this. And the leftists.
One more thing, I have to add this.
Yeah.
That Nitish had become arrogant and stuff like that. And then
when Nitish arrogant, started listening to Lutyens crowd. This is what happened, and that is why they're losing. BJP is winning. That is what they said. And the real leftists, they were bashing BJP before, they were bashing BJP after. They bash BJP in sleep. They bash BJP when they wake up. I have no problems with them. It's the ones who are saying, as soon as the election results flipped, they said completely the opposite things, and they were live on air. They said everything that BJP did was wrong. Nitish is not arrogant. Now Narendra Modi has become arrogant instead of BJP. It is these people who don't have an ideology, who are basically working for favors. Those are the people that we need to be worried about.
Absolutely.
There are people who will write newspaper columns for favors. There are people who will sell their influence.
Yeah.
Those are the people we need to be worried about. Those are neither right nor left. They are just wheelers and dealers.
They're wheelers and dealers. Sunanda is using a very famous term used on another TV channel, but no, there are rationalizers, as they said. They can rationalize anything. That's what. Sorry.
One last thing is the right cannot deny the primacy of health and education in the scheme of things, whether it is a leftist idea or if it is a social.
Absolutely.
You are not empathetic to the common needs, whether it is a national health mission or a national education mission. That basically, if you look at the United States, you get a very good public education system that can compete with any private education system anywhere else in the world. So there are certain templates that this government has to probably subsume and take it forward. It's not a right or left thing.
Before I end, just the last word from Haritha. She hasn't spoken yet on this. Haritha, yes.
Yeah, I just want to bring into limelight the importance of uniform civil code. Okay, that should be men. That's a need of the hour as men. It's been like decades that there's been this minority majority rift, and then right now we are seeing that Jamia Millia Islamia is claiming that it wants a minority status. And then another thing which dominates this agenda is like while we see that Hindu temples and all these things are under the endowments department, the minority religious institutions have their own kind of governance and administration which takes care of all these things. So now it's time that country just focuses on bringing up this uniform civil code. And recently Uttar Pradesh government is now saying that like there aren't concrete views as such about it, but the school teachers who spend they are like stuck up with how the pensions of the school teachers have to be disbursed, either to the first wife or to the second wife, or like what is the criteria, and things like that, like to make the whole picture more clear. Now it's a time that people should start seriously debating about uniform civil code and then bring about some kind of the people, their consensus and all that stuff.
We will discuss uniform civil code in 2018. I'll assure you about it.
It's not just before the elections that things like this should be done, like, right? This is...
Go ahead. Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah. I think this is the time that like government should slowly start focusing about all these things. Like elections are coming up, and then like one major thing that as Ramana Garu has spoken, that it's like the crucial aspect is about dealing with West Bengal. It's not a simple thing because like as you see the IS influence is growing, and then like as we can see, there is narcotics involved both in West Bengal and then the Pathankot attacks. There are so many things, like so many nitty-gritty issues which form the real backbone of all these attacks, and then like how the the unity and the communal things play out is like really very important. So these kind of things are not left for the sake of election manifesto. It's like there should be lot to be done about this, I feel.
Interesting points. I mean, as much as I wanted to extend this debate further, we have run way out of time. But
Okay.
just wanted to wrap this up. If you all viewers have watched the whole debate, you've made an excellent choice, and please continue to do so. Thank you for staying with us. Once again, I hope to do more of these. We hope to do more of these in the future. Wanted to also thank you for all your great pieces for mind makers, and looking forward to more engagement from all of us here. And keep the comments coming, keep the discussion going. Nothing like a good debate. Look at all of us, we're sitting in 5 different time zones, 4 different time zones, I don't know, and still having a wonderful conversation. So we hope that this keeps on going further. Do like us on Facebook, do follow us on Twitter. We'll be back soon with more podcasts, more interviews. Till then, from Team Mindmakers and me, Aadit Kapadia, it's a goodbye and a good evening to all of you. Thank you for joining in.